Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Chris Taylor, and I am the long-winded, highly opinionated host of The Devil's Advocate. There's one thing I truly love about this show, it's that it's given me the ability to speak my mind. All of the topics I've brought up thus far, and all the ones I have planned for the future that have been dancing around inside my brain for quite some time, have been straight from the heart and out the mouth. In doing so, and being so open and honest on this very channel, there's always the chance of people coming in just to rattle the cages, just to say hurtful, spiteful things to take me down a proverbial notch, or 6. And while up to the recording of this episode, I've seemingly been very lucky in that isn't the case, the opportunity for that very thing is always present. This is not a new thing, of course. The internet being what it is, the anonymity of the platform has given rise to a new form of human being, the troll. Feeding one shall only bring darkness and despair to those who wish to have their views heard, or in my case, seen as well. Some who have experienced this pain have gone so far as to close down the comments of their videos entirely, shutting out the bad and the good in one fell swoop. And admittedly, there are times where that almost seems like a tempting option. But here's the thing. You can mark my words that this channel will never, ever shut down the comment section. First, and certainly not least, is the First Amendment to the United States Constitution. In short term, it's where the term freedom of speech comes from. The exact wording is as follows. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble, and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. Whew, that was a mouthful. Either way, the freedom of speech part is really the main part of my argument today. I'm not much for wanting to form a religion or anything. Plus, I'm Canadian, so petitioning the American government is kind of out of my territory.
Brave Canada! Brave Canada! They're not even a real country anyway.
The point is, freedom of speech is a necessary component of our very society. The ability to speak one's mind in a calm, logical manner. Not just, I'm right, you're wrong, you. That gets you nowhere. When we all see something that we disagree with, we have options, not just one strict path. If it's a TV show or movie, we can change the channel. If it's a video on this here internet, you can always click on that big red X in the top right corner and go your own way. But by seeing something, disagreeing with it, and not saying something about it, it affects you. Not always all at once, and not always in a large, significant way, but it does. It'll stick with you and fester inside. And that is the beauty of free speech. It allows us to do exactly that, to do something about that acid feeling inside. Verbally, at least. Taking that down here would take away that option for you guys. To shut you out, to censor you on what you think and feel. Which of course brings me to point number 2. This show was designed specifically for commenters to come in. Sure, I end every episode with me saying that I'm gonna prove you guys wrong.
Permission to say lawyered? I'll allow it. Lawyered.
But for the most part, that's pretty tongue-in-cheek. The very first episode was about how I don't hate the Star Wars prequels. And I posted it willingly on the internet, a place with a pretty high these things don't exist ratio of people. We know that we had to start off with something that was big, that from the outside seemed nigh universally, or at least galaxy far, far away, idly, reviled. And instead, the comments turned around and proved me wrong.
What in the ass?
It's currently our most watched video, and I'd be willing to bet it's one of the reasons why a good chunk of you guys are watching this episode right now. You started there. At its best, this show works not by me just yelling at you guys about my thoughts and opinions. It works because of the feedback we get from the comments section. We read them all. We respond to a lot of them. There's a back and forth in this little community that's been growing. But that's not all. There are times when I can just sit back and watch you guys talk with each other, to share your own sides of things amongst each other, and for the most part, it's been civil, well thought out, and calm. Were I to take that away, sure, the show would still exist in some form, but I'd be taking away the best part of this, the feedback. If we screw up, you guys have a chance to point it out. If I forget to mention something, maybe one of your favorite parts of a movie or game, or just didn't give enough detail in what I was saying, the comments are there for you guys to say so. In getting constructive criticism, we have the chance to improve. Not only so that I can do this part right here better, but so that you guys have a much better program to watch.
We can rebuild him. We have the technology.
It would actually be quite detrimental to me as a creator to take that away. But alas, every solid, strict rule must have one exception, and this channel, for all its love of feedback, is not an exception in this. Hate speech and death wishes.
Why didn't you just kill yourself or let it go?
We got a comment on the prequels video that said, paraphrasing, this. The prequels suck. 21st century movies suck. Millennials suck. Please die. Now, I was chomping at the bit on this one. There's so much to dissect. For example, the first Star Wars prequel was released in 1999, a full half year before the 21st century. I'm a big fan of debate, but the one thing I will never be able to abide by is someone, anyone, saying that you shouldn't be alive just because you have a different opinion than they do. It's uncanny how scared we are of people who think differently, and yet at the same time, constantly try and say the exact opposite. Look, I knew ahead of time that A, this is YouTube, so these creeps are gonna come out no matter what, and 2, that my opinions aren't shared by every single person on the planet. We stated it right at the beginning of episode 1. Disagreeing is fine. Hell, it's encouraged. The only way we grow is by seeing the other side of things, which is the entire point of this show. But the way to do it is to express yourself and then say why you feel that way. Saying you suck and you're worthless isn't gonna solve anything. It's not gonna change anything, and it's not going to improve anything. But saying, you suck, because the WWE should never have gone PG because, and then actually explaining yourself, that is the way to do it. Despite overwhelming evidence to the contrary, I do hope I managed to shed some light into why we would never think that closing the comments section would be a good idea. Whether it be because the First Amendment is a thing that exists, or even just the simple fact that this show wouldn't exist in its current form without the opportunity to be spoken back to. YouTube isn't just a soapbox for me to spew forth my opinions. It's a community of well thought out, hopefully, people with minds of their own. But mind that mind of yours, because if you're only here to vomit hate, then it's one strike before you're out. As always, don't forget to hit that subscribe button for a new piece of my mind every Wednesday at noon. And follow us on Twitch, where we here at Devious Advocacy attempt to not suck at a video game for your viewing pleasure whenever we have the time. And take the time to let your voice be heard in the comments below. Is there actually a reason to shut you guys up? By all means, let your thoughts conflict with my own, so that I may proceed to prove you wrong.
Kaboom! You've been lawyered.
But for now, in the case of YouTube comments, the defense rests.
Shut up, comedian! Shut up! Quit talking! First Amendment. Yeah, don't just quote the sexy amendments.